Hey, greetings, greetings, greetings. It's Precious Tatawi. How's everyone doing? Um, Today we're going to talk about creating a sacred space. So I'm really excited. The only one today, the guest is me. So it's just me. You're just going to see me. We're going to talk about creating a sacred space and what does that look like. So before we start, when I come, I always talk about my practice and what have you. And so today I would just really like to make sure that everyone is centered and that everyone can bring their space into the room that I'm in. And so one of the things that I want to do is starting to have this practice where we just take 1 minute just to center ourselves and 1 minute to focus on ourselves because we have so many things. We're running around, we're doing things and kids. But this, when you come here for the voices of wise women, it's all about you. So let's take 1 minute and I'm going to show you some of my tools that I use. This is a singing bowl, which I love. Rolanda has tons of them, but I love them so much. So I'm going to tap the singing bowl. I'm going to take 60 seconds just to focus on ourselves, right? So here we go. Now we can come out, take a deep breath, and we're ready to go. So that also helps you to connect yourself with me as well when you go into that breath. And so we didn't go a lot into the breath and the breathing, what have you. We'll have that on another session. But this is just to bring you all into the room so we can all do what we need to do, right? So you did see the singing bowl, which is really great. Amazon, I do believe. I also pulled a card. So I pulled a card, which is very interesting because I pulled from two different decks and the same type of card came up. So today the calendar says, forgiving makes me free, makes me feel free and light. I forgive everyone. So that's from my calendar. Then I pulled a card and the card says, I release the past and forgive everyone. So someone out there really needs to forgive themselves and someone else. And I'm also going to use this for myself because we all have someone we need to forgive and we need to forgive ourselves. So today it's about forgiveness. So think about that today, right? All right. So how do we start? We talk about a sacred space. So some people are able to have their whole house as their sacred space, and then some of us just have bedrooms or whatever it is. My sacred space at this time is my bedroom. I did have an apartment one time, and the whole house was my sacred space. But now I share with my family, and so we have 3 generations of us living together. But the house is pretty chilled when you come in. It's a very, very chilled house. And so what I found out was people would always come to my house and always, oh my God, I love being here. I could sleep here. It's so chilled. The kids are chilled when they come. But it's about me creating that sacred space within my home. So if you don't have a home and you just have a bedroom, you can make your bedroom your sacred space. So how does one make it a sacred space? One of the things that I do is when I come into any kind of new environment is I burn sage, right? So I have some sage with me right here. So I use White Mountain sage, right? Rolanda, I think she has we're gonna a video that talks about White Mountain sage, right? You can get White Mountain sage from Amazon, right? Okay. So with the White Mountain sage, I also have an abalone shell, right? So because the sage can become very, very hot. So what I do is I light my sage And then after I light my sage, I put it within the shell, right? And sometimes I have a feather, and then I can walk around my room, or I can walk around the house and just do the sage. Now, this sage will go very, very fast. So my thing is that when I light it, or sometimes I'll just light just a small bit of it, right? And then just walk around the house and sage the entire house. So sage is about purification. It's about release negativity. Like sometimes you may feel like there's been an upset in your house or whatever. You can burn sage, and when you do that, it releases the negativity. So I always recommend sage. I was lucky enough when I lived in LA to be able to found a forest that had white mountain sage. It was up on the mountains, and I was able to go and pick sage, and then we wrap it with this string, right? And then we were able to bundle this. It was really good. So white mountain sage is something you really want to have. Some people like white mountain sage, and they'll have lavender with it, or juniper, or cedar, or whatever. I just do pure white mountain sage, so that's what I use. In fact, I think this bundle came from Rolanda because she sent me some sage. So that's number one, sage. So get out your pen and your notebook and write down things. So white mountain sage is one thing that I do. Also, what do I use? Florida water. So bodegas always have Florida water. This is something that's really great to use. It also releases the energy. So I take Florida water and I went and bought me a little spray bottle. And I got the spray bottle from, I think, Whole Foods or something, and put it in there. And then I add also just a little of distilled water, and I'm able to spray it into the air. And it also cleanses the air. Dispels negativity. It's used a lot of times in different ceremonies. I know different, like Santeria and different things use Florida water. So Florida water you can also get from Amazon as well. All right. So I really like Florida water. It smells really, really good. A lot of my sisters that I know use Florida water. And even going to the barber shops, you'll see the Florida water. A lot of times after you finish the barber, he'll sprinkle it on and then kind of dust you off with the brush. But he's using a lot of times just Florida water. So it's really, really good. But it's definitely good for dispelling any kind of negativity in your room. I used to keep this at my job. So sometimes you have to talk to your employees, and when they leave, you might want to spray a little Florida water. But a lot of times I wouldn't take the whole bottle to work with me, but I would also just put in a little small spray bottle. You can just kind of spray it around. So I like that. All right, so that's Florida water. Next thing that I use to clear any energy before I start doing anything in any space is to use lavender. So I take lavender, and then I put in a bottle, and then I also put some distilled water in the lavender, and then I can take this lavender and I can spray it all around the room. Now, I always take lavender on the plane. So I know sometimes you're not supposed to take certain things on the plane. So what I do is I'll take lavender and I'll put it on a handkerchief. And then when I get into my seat, I would like wipe the seat off and dust it. And then when the plane takes off, a lot of times the fuel is so the knocks. I hate the way it smells. So I'll put the lavender over my my face and my mouth, and then inhale it in. And it allows me just to kind of relax as I go on the plane. So lavender is really good, really great to take to work. Spray it around. People, what are you doing? Oh, I like a little lavender. Keeps everything calm. If you feel like something's going on at your job, you can just kind of walk around and spray a little lavender. Trust me, lavender is really good. I also spray it on my at night before I go to bed. I always spray my sheets. I always spray my pillows with lavender, and it also helps you to go to sleep. So lavender is something you want to use. Lavender you can also use with other things like apple cider vinegar, and you can do all kind of healing things with lavender. So lavender is really good, especially when you're talking about healing modalities. I would definitely have lavender in my house. I always keep lavender in my house. Always keep sage, always keep Florida water. That's just what I do. All right. So that's kind of setting the ambience for what you want to do in terms of your house. So that's how you prepare it. And also when you have something that's going on, like I said, you can also have your sage and these same kind of tools. You want to have these in your house at all times. So when something's going on, you can clear up the energy right away. Now that sometimes I've even had where I walked around my house and had sage just to cleanse the whole atmosphere, the whole community. You can do that as well. If you are not able to have these things, there's other things that you can do. Like when I talked about the singing bowl, you can walk into a new apartment that you just moved in, and you can just have a singing bowl like this and just and let that tone go all through it, and you go from room to room. That's one way to clear energy before you even get started. Another thing is I also have the little bells. You can just hit those. It's a wonderful vibration. That also can clear up anything. Let's say you don't have bells, you don't have a singing bowl, you don't have the tools. You can use your hands. You can clap and go from room to room. As long as you have the intention, that's most important, it'll clear the energy out. Okay, let's say you can't clap because it's going to be too loud. You don't have the singing bowls, you don't have the tools. You can use your breath. You can go within a room. You state your intentions, breathe in, and blow it out. Clear the room just with your breath. And you keep doing it until you feel like the room is just clear of whatever it is. Let's say that you don't want to use the breath. What else can you use? I've also will open up a window in a room, close my eyes, collect any energy in the room, and then throw it out the window. So you can always do that. Grab the energy up, grab it up, and then throw it out the window. So there's so many things you can do in terms of clearing a space before you even start talking about making it sacred. There's so many things you can do. So now you know you can do the singing bowl, you can do the bells, you can do the sage, you can do the lavender, you can clap, you can throw it out the window, and then Florida water, and then maybe just have incense. Maybe just have incense, that's all. Excuse me, let me use some water. Incense are good. So I just have different incense here. Lavender is a good one, frankincense and myrrh. And you can walk around from room to room. A lot of times I'll use my sage, and after I finish the sage, then I'll go behind with some incense. Because a lot of times sage can be very strong. And people have come many times, is that weed? Is that weed? No, it is not weed. It is weed, but it's sage that I'm using. And so a lot of times I'll go behind it with different kind of incense. So you can always buy, incense. Make sure that whoever you're getting the incense from, they don't use a lot of alcohol. You want to really have a really good smell. And I think at the end we have a resource. There's a man named Fred Soul that you buy incense from, and he uses resin. And he's one of the few people I know that uses resin. So I really like him in terms of using resin. So I do that. All right, here we go. All right. So everything in the camera is backwards. So when I'm seeing one thing, it's on the other side. So all right, so that's how we can do to start to set up the space, is to clear it of all the energy, because when someone's there before you, they live there before you, their energy is there, and they don't usually collect their energy with them unless they know what they're doing. A lot of times you can have a lover who's over, and maybe he's gone back to wherever he is because he doesn't live with you. You want to clear that energy out. Well, sometimes you may want to keep it there because that's how you feel about the energy. But if you don't, you just get that sage, get the Florida water, whatever, and move that energy out. Open a window and push it right on out. So that's one way you can do in terms of removing energy. And that could be in your car, it could be in your home, it can be at your job. And there's ways to do it that's real discreet, especially with the lavender. You just spraying some little lavender on yourself, or you may just be sitting there just kind of like doing like this. And they're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, just, a little something. You're actually throwing the energy off. So there's ways to do it. So much more I can share with that, but at another time. Right now, we're just talking about the sacred space and how to remove energy. Another thing that I do that I really love is working with charcoal. So you buy this charcoal. You can buy these, I think, at Amazon. And I have a little container that it's in because this gets very, very hot. And you take the charcoal and have a lighter, and you take it and you light. I'm not going to do it, but you light it on the end. You light it on the end, it becomes very, very red. And then you drop it into the container and you just blow on it, and you'll see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's red. So after you do that, I usually have resin. And so I have these great resin. This is one of the sent to me from Kapal resin that sister sent me. And it smell, oh my God, it smells so good. And so you just take a little of the resin, put it on the charcoal, and just walk around the room, and it just, oh God, it smells so good. In fact, I can just breathe into the bag and almost go into a meditation. It's so good. So you can also do this as well, the charcoal. I love charcoal. I don't do it, I don't do it all the time, but I do it every now and then and walk through my entire house with the resin and the charcoal and the copal. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, so that's how you start to clear your energy out. Then as you move into, so let's say that someone's giving you furniture and it's from someone else's, you can sage that furniture down before it even comes into your house. Let's say they give you a chair, whatever, you can do the same thing and spray it. You can sage everything down to remove any energy. And it doesn't have to be negative. People say, oh, negative. It doesn't have to be negative energy. It's just someone else's energy that's on the chair. So you just want to remove that energy off because you're bringing it into your house. So I would do that. And then think about, as you're setting up your space, what you want. I think about the visuals. Like in my space, I have all the different chakras that are on my room. I have the chakra. I have a picture of the sister in the back, an African sister. It can be whatever it is you want to do, but as long as it reflects who you are. I think that's what's most important. Some people like flowers, some people like landscape. It doesn't really matter. Just as long as it reflects who you are and you feel that energy. I remember reading something and it was saying, if it doesn't bring you joy, then it doesn't need to be in your house. So how, we have so many things in our houses that don't really bring us joy, but we just have it because it's there. But if it doesn't bring you joy, I get rid of it. Especially if I haven't used it in a year, there's no reason to even have it at all. So that's one of the ways you can kind of look at, what do I want to have? I look at especially my bedroom, because that's where I sleep. That's where I manifest. That's where I visualize things. I make sure that my bedroom makes me feel safe. Makes me feel, what's the word I want to use? I definitely want to feel safe, because that's where, when you go to sleep, your spirit leaves you sometimes. And so it's important to have that safe space. And so that's why I spray lavender, before I go to bed at night, to have that kind of relaxing kind of mode. So that's important to have that. I look at the comforter that I have. I look at the pillows. I look at all those kinds of things. And they don't have to be expensive to be able to do that, but just really think, when you pick up the comfort, do I really like it? Versus saying, well, it's only $29, but do I really like it? Does it really have the vibe? Because if it doesn't have the vibe, then you throw it on your bed, and then that's energy. So I definitely work with energy. And so that's energy that's on you. If you don't like the comforter that's on you, then what's the point? And it makes you feel uneasy. And so you don't want to feel uneasy. So you want to just really look at, what's my comforter? What's my surroundings? What's on my walls? Do these things bring me joy? And then sometimes you want to reinvent yourself, and sometimes it's time to get rid of it. So you just have to let it go. And then you go into the next phase as we move up. Because I think I am nothing like I was in the 60s. I'm nothing like I was in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, because as I get older, then I reinvent myself, and also I change. And so when you change, and you change for me, I change everything around me, right? All right, so that's one thing you can do, setting up your sacred space. Another thing you do is, like, I always burn candles. So I have a candle burning here. And today I have a candle that I brought. It's blue. So why is it blue? Because blue represents communication. So every color has an energy. And so sometimes we have to talk about, the colors and what have you. And so I wanted to show you, when you buy a candle, how can you set up your intentions with a candle? Because for me, everything has a meaning. So I'm not just buying a candle just to buy a candle. Oh, it looks cute. No, it has a meaning. So what does that candle mean? So for me, today I have a blue candle, which is communication. So when you buy a candle, you don't just, if you're going to use it for any kind of intentions, then you have to make sure that that candle is set up properly. So what do I do when I get a candle? First thing I do is wet it, right? Give me some water. have this really cute bowl, right? And I, put the water all on my candle, right? Then I get a paper towel and I wipe it off clockwise, clockwise, right? All the way up. And I make sure this candle is clean completely, right? Because I'm going to put some intentions in this candle. Then I'm going to take a little bit and wipe the inside of this candle and on top of it and the wick as well. Because these are intentions, especially if you're going to have one you're going to put on your altar or whatever you have in your house. You definitely want to make sure, all right? So now this candle has all the energy from it was gone. I may even burn some sage, smudge it, same way, right? Then after I do that, I want to put my intentions into this candle. So I have oils, sometimes frankincense and myrrh, different little oils. And then I take the oil on my hand, once again, clockwise. I'm going to go up this candle like this and putting my intentions in. So maybe my intentions are to communicate with you in a good way, communicate with you in a way that you will understand what I'm talking about. And so I'm doing this clockwise, right? And then maybe just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, because I don't want this to blow up. And then I'll put on here and inside, and then my intentions are in. So let's say if you were going to get money or you were looking for money or something, you would have a green candle and you would do the same thing with the oil and then put it on your altar or someplace that's safe. So that's what you do, right? And it smells delicious now. Well, that's how you do your candle. So this is what my candle will be when I talk with you because of communication, right? I always keep a white candle in my house as well, treat it the same way. The white candle was, I take this off. The white candle I use if somebody has made a transition or maybe I just want my energy to change, I would use a white candle as well. And so same thing with the white candle, right? So I'm going to look over here and see if anybody's, because sometimes we have comments. Want my energy to change. So, oops. Let me just turn this down a little bit. So, all right, so you're going to ask me anything. If you have anything you want to ask, please text and I will, or put a comment, and then I will respond to the comment. All right, so we talked a little bit about the candle, and each candle, once again, has different colors. One of the ones I really like is the 7 African Powers candles. I'm getting so I can't find them as much. I think the bodegas and different metaphysical stores have those, and I like those to put on my my altar or when I'm working on some kind of special intentions, and I would definitely do that. But the candles have different colors, they mean different things, and so think about that, especially when you get these candles. They used to make them a little bit bigger and they would last for 7 days, but now it's getting so they're only lasting like 3 days. So some people blow theirs out. It all depends on where you are. But you have to be very, very careful with these candles. When these houses catching on fire, so you can always put them out and then, light them back up when you come home as well. All right. So that's one of the things you can do in terms of think about colors. Everything has every color has energy, and so. Like if people in their beds or whatever, I would not put red sheets on my bed for me because red is a lot of energy and you're trying to sleep at night. And so it would be hot and what have you, because you think of energy, you think of sex and what have you. And so I would not put a red sheet on my bed. What I like is calmer colors, blues, light blues and pinks. And sometimes I'll have white or whatever, but I do like oranges. Orange is creativity, so sometimes I'll do that, or yellow or things like that. But that red can be very, very can be disturbing to people to sleep at night. So just think about the colors when you talk about painting your house or whatever. How do those colors affect you? And then different colors affect people differently. So some people may have a nice blue, and other people might say, oh my God, I can't do blue. It took me a long time to be comfortable with green. I didn't care for green, but then I realized green was connected to money. So then I had to really look at what is my issue with money, because money is green if I don't like green. So that was a whole thing you have to you had to deal with. So a lot of times when you are don't like different colors, you have to really find out the meaning behind that color and then think about how do you contribute to that. Because I believe that everything that happens in our life, we are responsible for it. And so therefore I always try to find out what part that I play in it. So that's just my thing. So I have some things over here I'm kind of looking at. One of the things people do also when you're talking about your space, so let's say you got your space, now you got your colors, you feel kind of good about it, you cleared your space up, you've looked at all the visuals on the visuals that you want, whether you want, I have some Buddha pictures, I have some flowers, I have different things on my wall. They bring me peace, so whatever brings you peace, you want to have that in your space. If it's in your bedroom, you really want to, like I say, in your bedroom, to make sure that that space is very, very calm for you, because that's where you sleep. So I'm just looking at some of my little notes that I have up here, so I won't forget anything. All right, so you can always get like the White Mountain Sage and all those things are at Metaphysical Store, but a lot of times they're on Amazon as well. So you just have to just kind of research. So I don't want you to be paying a whole lot of money for things that's not even necessary for you to have. All right. All right. So, someone's saying, what's a good color for expanding natural talents? Again, orange is about creativity. So orange is creativity. Yellow is intellect. So a lot of times when I am writing or I need to do something that I really need to stimulate my intellect, I always have legal pads that are yellow. So I always use yellow. But orange is creativity. So if you're talking about your gifts and what have you, then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just have an orange scarf and just wrap that around my neck, or have something orange around me that kind of stimulates that creativity. In your home, it just all depends. If you want to just like paint your walls, whatever. I did have orange walls before. Boy, it was really orange, but it was a lot of creativity that came out of that. So it just all, it depends on it. But I would, there's some resources that I'm going to have at the end with the Ted Andrew writes the whole thing about colors and the healing components of colors, because colors can be very, very healing. And what we're seeing in some of the prisons now, they're using like a light blue to kind of calm the prisoners down. We also know that pink is a color of is a weak color. So a lot of times when prisoners or somebody's out of control with children, they would wrap them up in a pink blanket because it kind of allows them to relax with that pink. And so I remember my granddaughter, when I was married, my ex-husband was like, no, we are never going to put the girls in pink because pink's really weak. We want them to be strong and, whatever. So he had other colors that he would always buy for the girls. And one of them's real, real feminine. So that's just how she is. Can you use yellow? Oh my God, yes. I love to mix colors. I would do purple and red. People are like, what the hell? When I came out, they was like, damn, that looks pretty good. Yes, you can mix any kind of colors together. That's just me, because I really like colors. Because I understand the energy behind colors. And so for me, I really, really like colors. Although I did go through a black phase when I was just all black. But black is the color of power. And so, because that's why judges wear black and some police officers wear black. So black is definitely, people talking about the death color. It's the color of power for us. I think Africans use white when they're in terms of when someone passes over. So that's two different kind of things. But for us, yeah. And when people are talking about white, they're talking about ultraviolet white, not white. So that's another whole kind of thing. Also, in your space, you might want to think about flowers. I think flowers are good. There's a whole book you can get on flowers because each flower carries the energy. So there's some flowers that are going to make you lift you up, some that make you go down, some plants you can bring into your house that provide oxygen, that plants in different levels of oxygen. So there's so much research out. That's why I said everything is energy. Everything is energy. So you have to be real mindful of what you wear. And when we're going to do a segment on beauty and health, and we're going to talk about colors, and we're going to talk about when you wear certain colors on you, what kind of energy what kind of vibration brings to you when you have certain colors. So everything is energy. So when you realize that, it changes everything. I just found out I have colon cancer. What color should I use to begin my healing? Okay, so I would look at the color of healing. Look that up, because there are certain colors, like if you had high blood pressure, you don't want to wear red, because when you wear red, that brings it up. It brings the pressure high. So it sounds like you might need blues or light blues, but look at Ted Andrews, The Healing of Color. And so it's going to be a resource at the end we're going to give you, so you'll be able to look at that. But I think you can also Google Ted Andrews, and he might have a PDF where you can just kind of look at it. But yeah, that's a real good. I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes when you're having a problem with healing, you can take certain blankets and lay down with the blankets, or fabric or whatever, and that would also help your healing along with it. Like I think when I saw, I believe it was Michael Moore, someone who's talking about going to Cuba and whatever. And so they were talking about healing in different countries. And so in the United States, when you're in a hospital, you have a white sheet or whatever, but there are other colors that other countries use when you're in the hospital and you're sick. And so I always think about that. So yeah, definitely look up, Ted Andrews and The Healing of Colors, and then you'll be able to tell which one. He tells you exactly, like for different issues in your body, there's certain colors that would kind of help heal that. So I'm glad he brought that up. Once again, with the flowers, think about the flowers, also the flowers, because the smell is so important. So if you're going through a healing, not only are there herbs that can help you, there are flowers that can help you, there are colors that will help you, there are incense that can even help you when you're going through a whole healing. Right now, I'm working with an herbalist who's really helping me in terms of, making sure that I'm balanced. I'll be 70 next year. I'll be 70 next year. So I really want to make sure that I am balanced. I'm really excited about going into my sevens. So I want to just make sure that I'm 68 now, I'll be 69 at the end of this year. I want to make sure that this next year and a half that I'm really working on putting things in order for my body to stay in balance. So that is so important to me, to stay in balance. So right now I am definitely out of balance. So that's another whole story. So, all right. So we talked a little bit about the sage. We talked a little about oils are very good. Make sure that there are pure oils. You don't want to have a lot of alcohol in them, and you can just kind of smell. I'm to the point where I can just kind of smell, and I can tell when things are made of pure oil. And so you want to have those as well. When you talk about your sacred space, what kind of rugs do you have on your floor? Think about the rugs and the energy and how you feel about the colors of the rug. And more important than anything is, how do you feel? When you pick up something and it's just like, oh my God, it's like, oh my God, I gotta have, then that's for you. If you pick up something, you're like, well, it's, $7.99. That's not really for you. And sometimes it takes a minute to find your vibe. But once you get what you really want, and it doesn't have to be expensive. I shop from the thrift store all the way up to Nordstrom's. It all depends on how it feels when I touch it. Like a lot of times I will touch fabric and I'll be like, I don't like the way the fabric feels. Or I'll look at it. I knew a sister that she would smell fabric and can tell whether it was good or not. And so we all have these different senses. And so we have to use those when we're talking about how do we want this space to look for ourselves. Now, let's just say that you're in a space where you're not able to do this at all. And, you're not able to get the sacred space that you want to have. I've even told some of my clients sometimes they can even make an altar out of a little shoebox. It's just for you. You can take a little shoebox, put your sage in there, put your a small little candle, tea light little candle, your little stuff, your little floor, and in a shoebox. And you can slide under your bed, and when you want it, you can come out and bring your stuff and spray it up and whatever you want to do, and then put it back. So there's always a way to be able to have that sacred space for you. If you're in a house, and let's say you share a room with your spouse or your partner, and you don't feel that's a space, maybe there's a corner that you can do. You can put your flowers in, or your yoga mat, or your pillow, where you could just sit and just be still. Because a lot of times that's what the sacred space is about. It's a place where you can go and feel good and be still and be able to be at peace with yourself. So if it doesn't have to be a big room, It could be a corner. It could be in a shoebox. It could be whatever it is that one wants. All right. Another thing you want to do is I'm going to show you aromatherapy. So I really love aromatherapy. This is a great little thing that I got. And when you light it up, it lights up and everything. And I put different oils in there. So sometimes I usually blend my oils. So I'll have orange and cinnamon and different kind of things, and then have it on low. And you can just have the whole house or your room smell like this. It's so good to be able to do that. Is that expensive? Not too much. I don't remember what it was. It may have been $30, whatever, but I really liked them. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, and I didn't buy it. I had to go back home, get my 2 coins together, and then went back and got it. So I really do like that as well. So think about how you smell. So you want all your senses, right? So you want your eyes, you got your visuals, you got your music, So you got your music, you got your incense. So you have all these different senses that kind of pull you all together to allow you to feel at peace with yourself. All right, so that's important. Let's see what time is. Okay, great. All right, let me see if there's any questions. Questions here. If you're guarding energy, intention, in and out. Yes, it is so important. Your intentions is exactly what is important. This is why I tell women, when you are washing your children's clothes, what are your intentions? Because I see women, oh my God, you just get on my nerves, these kids, blah, blah. And then you wash their clothes and you want to know, after they put their clothes back on, why the child has a bad attitude. What was your intention? What was your energy when you were washing their clothes? What is your energy or your intentions when you're cooking the children's food? If you're acting a certain kind of way, instead of putting love or whatever, then they ingest that. And then you want to know why they act that when you put the energy in there. So I believe that everything is energy, so we have to be really, really mindful. In fact, when I'm telling you this, I'm thinking of some things I need to do in terms of what I've been doing with some energy as well. But when you're building a garden, it's always supposed to be with love. When I go somewhere and someone would make me a sandwich, I'm like, bro, did you put some love in it? And they start like, oh, yes, ma'am, I did. I put some love in it. Because if I go somewhere and you got a bad attitude, I don't want nothing I don't even want whatever you're selling. So it's so important to really look at and be mindful of people's energy and your energy as well. One of the things I always talk to sisters about is being disrespected, and how I've never been disrespected, at least not to my face. No one's ever called me a bitch or anything like that. But part of it is that I always come with respect. So when I see brothers on the street, the first thing I do when I come up, because you got to go through the middle of them, and they park, they see me, I'm like, how you brothers doing? And they're like, oh, hey, miss, how you doing? And so when you do that and you come with respect, then they respect. Or if they see me, then after a while they see me, they just immediately, oh, here she come, and they get out the way. So it's important to come with respect, instead of coming with a bad attitude with like, damn, here they come. Here they out there again. Yeah, they out there. You know they're going to be out there. So why don't they just come with respect? And then after a while, you get so they kind of move out your way and you see them presenting themselves differently because of the example that you have set for them. So that's just important. All right, somebody's asking something else. Pastel green. Yeah, pastel greens are really nice. Light greens are good. Right. Light blue is also good for healing, energy, and cancer. Yep. Very good. Someone's giving me some good examples of energy and what's important. Light coming in your window. A lot of times when I come through communities of colors, everybody's shade is down. Everybody's curtain is all, and when I go through European neighborhoods, it's all open. In fact, you can look through their entire house from front to back. And so my thing is having light in. My house is always in order, so I don't care about anybody seeing in. That doesn't bother me at all. But it's about me having the light to be able to come in, and it makes the whole room bright, and the whole room is bright when you have that light. So you just have to be clean up your house, clean up the energy, because when you have clutter, then that brings in another whole vibration. But when you have more minimalism, then you'll find out that the energy will flow through, because it's all about flowing through. And so when you're able to have a house where the energy can just flow through, then you're going to see a lot of difference. And a lot of times what I find out that as you clean up and declutter, everything just starts opening up. So you just have to be able to feel confident that you well, it's not confident, but set your intentions when you clean up that I'm releasing this, because when you're throwing things out, you're releasing it. You're definitely releasing it. So that's what you want to do. Also, in my house, I love these salt lamps, Himalayan salt lamps. So I have these around, and this is really good for the lungs. And I have some lung issues, so I always put this on, and it just helps to clear the energy, and also with the lungs as well. Crystals are really good. Crystal healing. I think I had a thing on the Crystal Bible. That's on one of the resources. And I love, smoky quartz. And so it tells you in the Bible, it tells you all the different kind of quartz. And you can lay these different quartz on your body, and it will help to heal your body as well. Like I said, when we talk about beauty and health, we're going to have a sister who does a lot with the crystals, and we have a sister who's going to come on, and she's an herbalist, the one that I'm working with. She's going to talk a little bit about herbs and what have you, and healing your body. So there's so many things that we can do to help heal our bodies. There's different healing modalities, and even though you may go to allopathic medicine, you can still work with the herbs as well. I feel that we are all. I like this one off. I feel that it's nothing that I have that's special, that we all have been given these traditions. It's just that some of us don't feel comfortable. Some of us don't know. But I always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. A lot of the teachings that I have gotten was just me being open. And as I get open, then the teachers come and they teach me different things. I don't leave my salt lamp on 24 hours. No, I'll just maybe get up. If I'm going to go to bed at 10, let me stop lying. I do not go to bed no 10 o'clock at night. Okay. Usually it's 12 or 1. I don't know where 10 came from. I should be going to bed at 10, but I may turn on at 8 o'clock and then leave it on. Sometimes I may 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I may do it just to have it in the, in my room. Now I might buy another one and have that's out there where we are all the time, my family, and maybe I'll get a salt lamp, but I don't keep mine on 24 hours, but I just have it on just when I go to bed or before I go to bed, just to kind of clear, the energy and dispel things. But what I want to tell you is that we all have different gifts that we were given. And I feel like when you were in your mother's womb, you were downloaded with everything you need to know. And so all you have to do is just quiet yourself and be still, and then just listen. And the Creator will tell you what you need to do. And it is different for everyone. It is different for everyone. And so, I talk about when I do the candles and how I do it, and it's supposed to be clockwise, right? But for me, I don't know why counterclockwise, right? And it's supposed to be the other way. And so a lot of times what I have to do is I showed you the clockwise way because that is the way it's supposed to be. But for me, when I go to do it, it's always clockwise, right? Counterclockwise. And that's how my energy flows. Same way when I open up my chakras, it's clockwise, I still feel this counter thing. And so everyone's energy flows differently. So you have to figure out what is good for you. And one of the biggest lessons I had was with one of my teachers. We do full moon. I used to do full moon ceremonies, and she takes us to the water, and we went to do our full moon ceremony at the beach. But this particular time, there was something going on at the beach, because right when we got there was a black dog out, and he's barking like, don't come here, don't come on the beach, don't come here. So we're all stopping, because we also know animal speaks, which is a great one, that when animals cross your path, there's something, they're telling you something. And so we decided not to go to that beach. So she went to another peninsula, this is in LA. And we had never been there before. It was pitch black. I mean, so dark, you can hardly see your hand in front of your face. And so we go down, and usually the beach is flat, so you just go out to the water. But this one you had to go down. And she started going down. And as soon as I stepped to go down, I hear a voice say, "Don't move." I mean, this is loud, clear, loud. I said, "What the hell?" So I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And she's like, "Come on, come on." And so I have a Native American name. So she's like, "White Star, come on, come down." And once again, the voice, I lift up my foot and I hear, "Don't move." So I stood back. So this other lady comes. She goes, "What are you doing?" "Oh, what are you, move out the way." And she moves. And as soon as she hit, the rocks must have had moss on it. And she went tumbling down. Boom, 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 all the way down. And all I could do was, because the voice is like, "Don't move." So I couldn't even like reach out to her or anything, because it said, "Don't move." And this other woman's behind me. She's like, "I don't know what's going on, but you didn't move, so I'm not moving." And she goes all the way down to the right where the water was, and if she hit the water, there was no way we could even see because it was so dark and so black. She goes right to the edge and stops. And then my teacher says to me, "White Star, why are you not coming down?" And I said, "Because I've been told not to move." So she said, "Okay." So they all came. So she and her, and came back up the rocks, and the lady was all bloodied and from sliding down there. And she said, "We'll just find another spot." She said, "But I don't know, if the ocean's going to be able to come and get the offerings we have." And I said, "I don't know. I just know that I couldn't go down there." So we go to another spot, which was really interesting. We get there and we're so far off the beach. We're like, we're going to do these offerings from here, and I don't know what's going to happen. And when we did the offering, the ocean came up where we were on this little shore and grabbed it and then pulled it back. So we didn't even have to go in there. So it taught me a lesson that even though my teacher was saying, "Do this," the spirit was telling me, "Don't you move." And I really believe if I had not listened and went down, I probably would end up in the water and I probably would have been gone. So what is the author's animal spirit? Ted Andrews, but we're going to have it at the end too. Ted Andrews. So I learned right then and there that no matter what your teacher or when anyone says, if the spirit or the creator or the universe or God, whatever you call it, says to do something, that's what you need to do. And so that was a really good lesson for me. Very good. But Animal Speaks. This is a small little version, but he has a big book. And Rolanda showed it when he first started. This is a pocket guide, and it has all these things. So when you have a dog that cross your path, or you have this way, a dog, crickets in your house, a fly that's buzzing, sometimes a mouse. Ooh, I hate mice. They all are coming to tell you something. So when they come to your bed, they mean something. So we always have it. I heard my daughter the other day say, where's Animal Speak? Where's Animal Speak? I got to look up. So anything you can think of, it's in here, and it's really good. So everything has energy. And so like my room has really got kind of real calm and zen. So now my daughter's dogs are in my room. I didn't even know until I heard one of them snoring. So he was in my room sleeping because the energy was just like, yeah, I like it. So that's just important. This is how energy, but like I said, everything is energy. And then we have to just really think about what are our gifts and how do we help ourselves and how do we help our community. So I like different healing modalities. I think they all help us. I think that sometimes I don't call them traditional medicine because I think what we're doing is traditional medicine, allopathic medicine. It's good for trauma, but I do know if it's other things, then even if you have to deal with them, then afterwards you should go see a naturopath that will help you be able to put your body back in balance and sometimes release some of those chemicals that they've given you. But like I said, they're good for trauma. When you're in trauma, you in a car accident, you've been shot or something, yeah, because 30 pounds of cayenne pepper in the wound is going to take you a long time to heal versus going to have the bullet removed and have them stitch you up and all that. And so it's just really important that we have to have that balance. That's very, very important to me to have the balance. All right. So, there's also kind of incense that Mexicans use different kind of wood, different kind of incense that are really good. What is it called? Palo Santo, yeah, which is a really good like wood that you can burn. Excuse me, burn that smells really good. And so there's all different kinds of things. Like I said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so I've had teachers from Tibet. I've had teachers that came through from the rainforest, and all of them have something and so much to share about how they were able to heal people. I had a group of sisters that went to Ethiopia, and one of them got very, very sick, and so they use traditional medicine, and so they were trying to find someone. So someone told them to go to this healer, and they went to the healers. They were saying, and the healer said, "Oh, we have a cold. Okay, I'll yeah." He said, "Come back in 30 minutes." So they left, came back, and he made some kind of concoction. And sister said when she had that concoction and she drank that tea, within 15 minutes it was gone. And he kept apologizing that it took him 30 minutes to pull it together. And they were like, "Are you kidding me?" And so there's a lot of different kind of healing modalities that one can use that really will help you in terms of where you are, or you may have something that you didn't even know that was going on. And so we just have to really just seek those out and be open. And like I said, once you're open, then the people just start coming to you. You can be sitting somewhere and they'll start having these conversations, and then you will know. I mean, Ro and I have had met some very interesting people and had some very very interesting experiences. Yeah. So so if you have any more questions, please make sure, because we're getting toward the end. So I want to make sure if you have any questions about setting up your space, how you can do it, being mindful of what you are putting in your space. If it doesn't feel right, I don't care if it's your grandmama's chair. If it don't feel right and you didn't like your grandmama, so why are you going to bring that chair up in it? All right, I wonder what the spider right above my head last night. Oh, let me see. She said spiders. All right, let's see what spider. And see, this is broke down by all mammals and different. That's insects, and now I have to go to insects. Okay, let's see. Hope it's nothing that I really can't. See, individual species. Don't take. Don't take the roundabout way. Be straight. Weave something new. Trust feelings rather than seeing. So that's what it means. Don't take the roundabout way. Be straight. Something you need to be straight on. And maybe you need to weave something new. Trust the feelings rather than seeing. So you're seeing one thing, but you need to, what is your gut telling you? Weaving, yeah. Weaving fate. Yep. So everything has energy. So I think that's just about, we talked about our cards, that we can use cards. We talked about how we can clear space. We talked about some of the colors. We're not going to go into that because that's a whole deep thing. We can have a whole session that just talks about what colors mean, but be mindful of the colors that you put into your house. There's crystals that you can use. There's salt lamps you can use, and that helps with the lungs and clears the air. Candles, the Florida water, the lavender, this different sages. I love prayer beads, and sometimes I'll use the prayer beads. Oh, books, yes. So the books we're going to have, there's a great sister named Shola, and Shola has Open to Spirit. She does a whole thing on chakras and what the different chakras mean. The Crystal Bible, I think it's Judy Hall has that. Ted Williams has a lot of different books on different things that one can use in terms of the healing colors, in terms of Animal Speaks. And I think he might have one on crystal as well. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Healing with colors. And Queen Afua. Queen Afua has a lot of herbs and a lot of metaphysical things that you can do in terms to heal your body as well. Also, and then the sage. Also, you can get white mountain sage too, and make a tea out of it, which is a wonderful tea to have. You can take pine tree. I like pine tree needles, and you can make a nice tea out of that. Sassafras tea. So there's a lot of different things. When we get back with this COVID-19, and most doctors won't let you come unless you have some kind of, you're almost dead, to get tested. There's things we can do to kind of protect ourselves as well. But like I was saying, the healing, I love the prayer beads. I wear prayer beads, and also when I do my meditations, I just go through the different beads. It's 108 beads, so I like that. And then also, this is amethyst and moonstone, and then I also have a small one, which is rose quartz, because rose quartz is for love. Rose, putting up all the different kind of books that are out there, and that's just some of the books that are out there. But it used to be able to go to different, like a Bodhi tree in different stores that would have all the different books, but now the bookstores are almost gone, so you have to go on Amazon. Fred Solis is God, he makes the best incense, and they're expensive. I'm sorry to say, it's like $1.99 for one stick, but you can buy 10 for like $13 or $10 or something like that. But I'm telling you, his resin is unbelievable, because it's not incense, it's resin on the stick. And you could open up the package and smell it and go into a meditation without even lighting the incense. So I know I spent quite a bit of money with him, but it's so good. And it's, if you want to get something that's really going to take you to that other level, then that's what you want to do. So a lot of this is like on Amazon. Shola's book, I would actually go to her website. That's why I gave it to you, because Amazon is talking about a couple $100, and that book's only $24 because she's in a paperback. So I would buy it from Shola if you want to know about yoga and about the different chakras in your body. She definitely breaks it down and has a beautiful, it's very well illustrated. So that I would definitely do that if I was going to do that. So I really want to thank you, and I really like the questions that you had today, talking about, the creating the sacred space. You can always reach out to me on my Instagram. You can also, I'm at jaquestrasatawi@gmail.com if you have any questions, or you can also put something in the comments and I will get back to you as well. I am not, okay. After cutting it, how do you keep it? Okay, so I was just reading about rosemary oil, and how rosemary oil is really good. There's a book called Apple Cider Vinegar. Damn, I just got the book. Apple Cider Vinegar book that I got that talks about how you can put that together and put that on your scalp to keep it from being irritated. I'm trying to think I think Queen Afua might have something in her book. And a lot of these books that I'm talking about, you can go on Google it, and sometimes they have a PDF where you can go in there and kind of look at it and see, what it is that you want. You can make your own oils. Man, there's so many different oils and that you can put together, almond oil, and there's horsetail herbs, or you can put together to me. I shave, man. I started with locks, and then I didn't want to have the locks, and then I had it twisted, and then I had braids, and I just decided last minute just to shave it. I'm just done. As you get older, I'm just done. There's my email address, shaquestra@gmail.com. You can reach out to me. And so every Sunday at 12 o'clock, we have Voices from Wise Women. And next week, we were going to have some sisters who are wise women who are in showbiz. And so they're going to talk about how they got into showbiz and what that's all about. So every week there's different topics. Or if you think there's a topic that you would really like to see, but would want to experience, please reach out to me and we will definitely do that. But we're pretty much all the way up to September, have a lot of shows every Sunday we're going to be having there. So I really appreciate you doing this on Memorial Day weekend, coming to us. And I just want to say, peace and blessings to you all. And keep your asses inside. Stop hanging out. Let's get this COVID thing together. So sometimes we got to stay in. I know shelter in place. Yeah. But put your mask on for me, because I have lung issues. And also, wear your gloves and wash your hands. So, Ro, I just want to thank you, and I want to thank everyone for coming to the show. And so, peace, and we will see you next week.